Good morning, Becky.
Hello, Bonnie.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Nobody would know that we get on here before we start recording, would they?
No, that's because we're laughing.
Yes. Everything looks lovely again.
Thank
And
you.
I love your little pumpkin dish.
Yeah.
Adorable.
We're going to talk about that today.
Okay.
We're doing squash today. We're doing a spaghetti squash, and we're doing a acorn squash, and this is, of course, a pumpkin.
Wow. Are we doing pumpkin squash?
No, we've actually baked a cake in this pumpkin.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea. Okay,
Now,
tell us what we're doing. You go ahead and start us and tell us what we're doing.
Okay. I found this recipe in one of my new cooking magazines that came, and they had a recipe for the cake and all that, but I just did a regular cake mix. I think it was a Devil's Food chocolate cake. And I got a pumpkin. This is one of those pie pumpkins that you buy at Kroger's or wherever at the market. It is about 4 pounds, between 3 and 4 pounds.
Oh, so that's a real pumpkin?
It's a real pumpkin, yes.
Oh, I thought it was a cute little ceramic pumpkin.
Nope, that's a real pumpkin.
Well, that's cool.
I cut the top off and I scooped all the seeds out and cleaned them, cleaned everything up inside. Right. And I made my cake mix and I poured my cake batter in the pumpkin.
Wow.
Now, I set it on a cookie sheet because it all came out over top. So make sure you set it on a cookie sheet.
Just an FYI.
Just FYI. I filled it about 3/4 full. I think I would probably only fill it about half full so it has room to bake up.
Okay. Well, that's a good idea. I've never heard of that.
So my husband had to eat all the stuff that came out over the side.
I hate that for him.
Now, I don't know what the cake looks like, so let's cut into this and see what it looks like. Okay.
Well, this is kind of fun.
Yeah. Guess I cut it in half, and then I'll cut a slice, and I got a plate here. Let's see how this looks.
So I'm interested to know if it has a pumpkin taste. Well, that's beautiful.
Now, what we'll do, look at this, Bonnie.
That's gorgeous. I love that.
And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to sprinkle, I've got some caramel syrup. So I'm just going to sort of do a little drizzle.
Now you're killing me.
Look at that.
Wow.
Now, it showed it with a scoop of ice cream, but who needs ice cream, right? Look at that.
Well, later you can do ice cream. It looks beautiful. Now you can eat the pumpkin and everything with the cake, right?
Yeah. They suggest you get a piece of pumpkin and a piece of the cake, and it's sort of a sweet, savory thing together.
Oh,
so
it looks great.
Really well. Now, you could also sprinkle maybe a little cinnamon on there too. It would be really different. But didn't that turn out nice?
I think I want to try that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so we'll set dessert aside. Look at that inside.
Well, we always have to have dessert first, of course.
Yeah, at least we talk about it first. So let's set this aside.
I think that is great.
We'll get to this in a minute.
Okay, good idea. So we're going to use what, an Instapot today? Is that the plan?
Yes, yes. And I have my Instapot right here. If no one's ever seen one, this is what they look like. Now I went ahead and cooked my squash because I was afraid it wouldn't get done in time.
Okay.
This is my spaghetti squash here, and it's really hard to cut because they're hard. They're just hard.
Right.
So I actually got it all cut except that much. I couldn't cut it. I did find a little secret. If you stick the whole squash in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes, it softens it a little enough that you can cut through it. What they wanted me to do was cut it in circles like this. But but it cooked the same. And I even put a whole squash in it last time, and it worked okay too.
So you just put the whole thing in there, and how long did that cook in there?
The whole thing with seed and all took about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Now, this one I put in for 12 minutes, But this one I had taken all the seeds out, so it cooked a little faster.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna take care of that in a minute. I have my Instapot on Saute. This is the first time I've ever used the Saute in here. So I put it on Saute, and what we're gonna put in there is we're going to put 2 cloves, and I don't have a big knife. Let me get a big knife. We're gonna put 2 cloves of garlic. So you know how we do this garlic. We smash it and tear off the outside. It leaves us the beautiful garlic. And I might just do 1 in case husband wants to eat some of it.
I was going to say, Dave must not be eating it if you're putting garlic in it.
He probably won't eat it. He's not a big fan of squashes. So let me chop this up. I'm just going to slice it, and then we're going to chop it up. And it's going to go in my pot. I put, let's see, I put the olive oil's already in there. I've got about half a tablespoon of olive oil. I might put a little bit more. So there's my garlic. I'm going to add my garlic. My pot is hot. It takes a few minutes for it to heat up, just like you're sauteing on the stove.
Right.
So let me put my garlic in. Listen to it sizzle.
It says on the outside hot, so it is hot.
It is very hot. Okay, I've got my garlic in there. I'm going to saute it for just a few minutes until it's a little soft, and then I'm going to add to this. I'm going to add some grape tomatoes. I cut my little grape tomatoes in half.
Okay.
And add them to my pot. Okay. Oh, baby.
Now, do you like using the Instapot?
This is my first.
Okay, because I don't have one, and I don't know if I would want to get one or not.
Well, let me tell you, as soon as I get it together, I'll tell you that you can do it without a pot.
Okay.
I'm going to stir my tomatoes until they turn soft. So I got my oil, my garlic, and my tomatoes. And you could do this on the stove. You don't have to do it in the pot.
Okay.
And you can cook your squash in the stove. You do really need to cut it before you put it in your oven. And I would cook it on 350, and I would cook it for at least an hour. And how you know it's done is when you push on the skin, it'll dent.
Okay.
And it's not done. While this is cooking, let me pull my spaghetti squash apart. If you've never eaten spaghetti squash, it's really cool. I'm going to take a fork, and I'm just going to pull the flesh out. And I don't know if you can see that.
Does it look like spaghetti?
It just looks like spaghetti. Can you see that?
No.
Yeah.
No, I can honestly say I've never made spaghetti squash.
Oh, it is delicious. It is absolutely delicious. With just a little butter, it's wonderful. I actually cooked some shrimp in my husband's toaster oven a little while ago, so we're going to add shrimp to this when we're done. Look at that.
Wow, that's a lot. Holy cow.
It is a lot.
And it comes out that easy. Just cooking it, and it just comes straight out.
You either put it in your Instapot for 8 minutes, or you can cook it in the oven for about an hour. So either way. Okay. Let me stir my tomatoes. Yummy, yummy.
Does it smell good?
Smells like garlic. Okay. I got my squash. I'm stirring until these soften up. The tomatoes just have to soften up.
Okay.
You want to combine it with your squash. When these get done, I'll add my squash to my tomatoes. And then we've got some other good things to add to it. Let me get them stirred up here. So you've never had butter, or have you ever had butternut squash?
No. No.
And you never had spaghetti squash?
Nope.
No. Well, they're all really high in fiber, so it's really good thing to eat. And you get a lot, as you can see.
I can tell.
You can make 2 or 3 meals out of this.
I'm trying to think if I could sneak that past my grandson as actual spaghetti.
Nah, probably not. He'd probably like it, but don't try to. I mean, it's okay. spaghetti, but it's just not the same. Don't
Okay.
try to pass it off. Tell him what it
Okay.
is.
Well, I mean, it might make him eat a vegetable that he didn't know he liked.
Yeah. Okay, to this, I'm going to add my squash. Let me put this over in my kettle.
That is a lot of squash.
It is. It is a lot of squash. It's going to make several meals.
Now, does that get soft like regular, like spaghetti would get soft?
Yeah. It's a vegetable, so it's just a little different.
Okay.
But, you'll see when I bring it back out what it looks like. Okay, I'm just going to stir this around. And to this, I'm going to add cream cheese.
Oh, now we're talking.
So I got 2 ounces of cream cheese. Now it called for a whipped cream cheese, and I didn't have that, so I'll just whip it in my kettle. Whip it up. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. So that cream cheese is melting, and it's just making a really nice creamy sauce. Now you can use the butternut squash. I've seen a recipe with shrimp and butter.
Okay.
And lemon. So you can make like a lemon shrimp or a lemon chicken. You can add chicken. Okay. To this, I'm going to add Parmesan cheese.
Oh, now see, all these are good things you're adding.
I forgot to get the shredded Parmesan, so I'm just going to use the grated. And I think I'm going to put, I put about half of that. This is a half a cup. I'm going to add a little more than half a cup to that, and then I'll save some for the top. So I'm going to add that in there. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, baby.
I'm glad you're enjoying this.
Yeah, I can't wait to eat it. I always can't wait to eat it, huh?
Nice.
To this, I'm going to slice up some basil. I have some fresh basil, which is the end of my garden basil. So let me cut some of that up. And we're going to add that. Oh, the smell of basil and tomatoes. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
All good things.
It is. Very fresh. So I'm going to add that in. And then I think that's good. I'm going to toss the combined, and I'm going to turn my Instapot off. Cancel, I think. Off, yes. So like I said, if you don't have an Instapot, you can do this on the stove. You can cook your squash in the oven. And it's not a problem. I just wanted to use my Instapot. Now I'm still in the experimental stage of my Instapot. So maybe you'll have some more recipes coming to you. We'll see.
Okay, I would like that because I would like to use that.
Okay, so let me get this out of here and plate it up. I think I need a spoon. Oh, yummy. The basil and the tomatoes. Now
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah, the squash did cook down a little bit, so we don't have as much as what we had before.
Geez, Becky, are you eating all that?
Yep, every bite. You just don't, it just smells so wonderful. It just smells so good.
I can only imagine because all of those nice flavors you put in there, they've got to smell great.
And how healthy. I mean, you're getting fiber and vitamin A and potassium. You're doing yourself such a favor eating fresh. And of course, the cream cheese has calories, but beyond that, it's not as bad as it could be.
No, it could be much worse.
Yes. Okay.
And it's kind of a nice, warm comfort food for fall. I mean, we're starting to get into fall, so.
So I'm going to sprinkle a little more Parmesan cheese over top. And then I'm going to put a few more things of basil on top because I love basil. I noticed this morning it's gotten so cold, my basil's starting to turn a little bit. So I'm going to have to go pick it all. And how I keep my basil for the winter, I freeze them in little ice cubes.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
And I keep it in the freezer, and then when I need some fresh basil, I can either just melt the ice cube or just throw it in a pot of soup, and I have fresh basil.
Oh, good idea. Good thing to know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
look how nice it looks.
Look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Tip it up a little. Let me see. Oh my goodness. That looks fabulous.
Isn't that fabulous?
Oh my gosh. Now, have you eaten this before, or this the first time you're trying it?
First time.
Okay.
So
I'm
I'll
excited.
I'll get into that in a moment. Let me show you. Let me show you another one.
Okay.
I cooked an acorn, or this is a butternut squash. Just a second, I'll show you what they look like.
Okay.
This is a butternut squash.
Oh.
They're very nice. The seeds are only down in this big cavity. This is all meat. So I cooked it earlier. I actually cooked it in my Instapot too. And the same thing, you put it in your Instapot, and they call it a trivet, but it's a little tray that sits down in your Instapot.
Right, like a
And you add
little
a
rack.
cup of water. Yeah, and you add a cup of water down at the bottom, and then you lay out your squashes, and they cook in no time. No time.
Wow.
So that's how I did that.
So you cut it up first and then stuck it in there.
I did.
Okay.
Butternut squash is not as hard to cut as regular squash. Okay, let's see here. Okay, what I'm going to do with this is I actually cut it, the neck. This is the neck, and it's sort of cut in a little circle. So I'm going to cut the skin off. I'm just going to cut the skin off. And this is a good side dish that you can do.
Okay.
So there, I'm going to cut it in half. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to put a little, it calls for brown sugar. And you're more than welcome to put brown sugar if you'd like. But I think I'm going to drizzle a little honey. And again, keeping a little healthier. So I'm going to drizzle some honey. And that makes, butternut squash is a little sweet anyway. So it just makes it a little sweeter.
Is that along the lines of like sweet potato kind of thing?
It's real close
Yeah.
close to that.
Okay.
And I'm going to, this is thyme, little piece of thyme out of my garden. And I got this little apparatus that's going to pull the leaves off. So I'm going to pull the leaves off, and I'm going to add it to my squash right over top.
Well, look at
So
you
we're gonna
being
add a
all.
little-
Well, that's pretty
little-
cute.
And then I've got, this is my own thought, I'm going to put some pumpkin seeds on top. I actually bought pumpkin seeds, so I'm going to sprinkle some of those. So look at that one.
Well, that looks great, and that was easy.
Let me finish it off with some shrimp. Looky here. I just put some frozen shrimp in the toaster oven and put a little bit of olive oil, and this is what we get. Look at this.
Wow, I love that. That was quick and easy. You could throw those shrimp on the other one too.
I can. So let me tell you what this tastes like. If you've never had butternut squash, you really have to eat it. Just a second. That's good.
All the combination of everything you put on there worked, huh?
It did work. Okay. I'm just not even going to plate. I'm just going to dive into this.
Go for it.
I don't know where to start with.
It looks good, so I want to see how it tastes.
Oh my.
That's a good face.
I think that's the best thing I've cooked yet.
Really?
You know, I say that every week, but that is really, really good.
And it really wasn't that much work to throw that all in there. That wasn't so much work. Looks good.
That's good. And that spaghetti squash underneath there just adds another flavor. It's not as sweet as the butternut squash, but it's still a little sweet. So it's just really, really good.
That looks really
and
healthy,
yes, Bonnie,
too.
I'm going to eat all this.
Okay, you got to try the cake.
Okay, I'll force myself.
Yeah, force yourself to have a little bite of cake. Because I'm still a little intrigued by that.
Okay, there's the cake and the pumpkin. So I'm going to get a little bite of pumpkin and a little bite of cake and a little bit of caramel, right? and I'm going to put that together. Oh. Mm.
I love your faces. This is perfect.
I'll tell you, I can tell you what that pumpkin does. It makes the cake like super moist.
Oh.
So it's just like the pumpkin is so moist and the cake is so moist and then the caramel's so sweet. Look at that.
Oh,
Can you
that looks great. I want to make something in a pumpkin now. I want to make a cake in a pumpkin.
Hey, this is all really good food.
That all looks great. What a meal.
Yep. And
Good idea.
if you want some help with your Instapot, I found the best place to go is on YouTube, and they can help you along. I think my biggest hang up with my Instapot is it's like a pressure cooker.
Okay.
So you have to let it come up to, you put the lid on, and it has a steam button. You have to make sure that steam button is turned to seal, not steam, seal.
Okay.
And it comes up to heat, and it fills that up with pressure, and it cooks it with that moisture. So my fear was always the pressure cooker part.
Right.
So you just sort of watch the front of your Instapot, and it'll tell you what's going on. And you want to wait until it says off. And when it says off, you can let the pressure off. Of course, you want to keep your hand away from the steam because it's hot, but you can let that pressure off and it'll say done.
A little at a time.
Yeah, and then you can put the lid and take it off safely.
Okay.
So it's just a quick way to cook things. A lot of people cook like pulled pork. They put pork in it with barbecue sauce. One of my friends, my daughter's friends, said you really have to season stuff well. So maybe that's what I wasn't doing with my meat, is let it season. So we'll try some more things later on. But this is squashes.
That looks great. Thank you. That looks, I mean, I'm really ready for lunch right now.
Just to let you know, with the cake and the pumpkin, once I put my batter in my pumpkin and I put my pumpkin in the oven, it was 350. I cooked it for an hour.
Oh, okay. That's a longer time then.
I'm not done yet. And then you turn your oven to 300 and you let it cook for another 50 minutes. Because the pumpkin needs to cook too, along with the cake inside. So an hour and 50 minutes is what it took to bake this.
Well,
And
it'll still be worth it. If you're
Yeah.
home all day, you can just throw it in the oven and just let it cook, and
Sure.
it'll totally be worth it.
It would be fun to take someplace to see people's faces like, ooh, pumpkin and a cake.
No, cake and a pumpkin.
Cake and a pumpkin. That's right.
Cake and a pumpkin.
A little bit about next week. I think next week we're going to celebrate Oktoberfest.
Oh, that's
So
right. It
it's
will be October.
It will be the 29th, I think is the date. It's towards the end of the month.
Okay.
And so we're going to get ready for Oktoberfest. So we're going to do cabbage rolls.
Oh.
I found a recipe for beer cheese, and I'm going to do that with pretzels. I'm excited about that one.
Well, that all sounds good.
Yeah, and then I have a recipe for an old-fashioned oatmeal cake, which is very.
Okay.
I've eaten
Well,
that.
those all sound. You're just making all these things that you love. That's why we get such good stuff. And drink your water. Get your water in there. Stay hydrated.
I just want to tell everyone to enjoy what's left of, well, summer's over. We're now in fall. So enjoy the fall, and we'll keep coming back to you live or like this with wonderful foods through the fall and maybe through winter.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to get back into the building with our cooking club yet because we're still limited on what we can do in the building, but this is working for us. Everybody still gets to see your face every week, so I enjoy that part.
Delicious food.
And delicious food.
Yeah. And remember to stay healthy, independent, and productive. And this food will help you stay healthy. Get out there and take a walk.
Get out and take a walk and be hip.
Be hip.
All right. Thanks again, Becky. We'll see you next week. It was fun again.
It was fun. Bye-bye.
All righty. Bye-bye.